It's time for another edition of Saturday with Seniors, brought to you by Eisenhower's. Tioga County Harley-Davidson riding season is here. You ready for a new bike? They have new and used bikes in stock. Ready for some service work? They'll take care of you too at Eisenhower's South Mansfield. And Sandy Gilbert, she's our guest today. How are you, Sandy? And thank you.
I actually am doing well for my age, Kevin.
You do amazing for your age.
Yes.
Can I ask your age?
I am 77.
And you are still working full-time, right?
No, part-time.
Well, it seems like full-time. You're always at State Farm.
Sometimes it's full-time.
Sometimes it's full-time.
Yeah, but they asked me to work a lot of extra. But I think we're getting a new girl now, so it should be better.
Well, good. Let's go back 77 years ago. Where were you born?
I was born in Elmira, New York.
And is that where your parents were from too originally?
No, my parents are from Lawrenceville. Well, actually what we had was they were in Lawrence Township. Mm-hmm. They had a Tioga address and a Millerton telephone number, if that tells you anything.
Sounds like Whitneyville. You get the Mansfield phone number and the Wellsboro address or whatever it is, and the schools are all split.
That's right. And they both lived in that general area all of their lives.
What type of work did your parents do?
My dad was a farmer. My mom, she was a stay-at-home help farmer. Mm-hmm. And took care of the kids.
Very common career path for parents at that time.
Yeah, back then, a lot of the women didn't work. Now everybody works. All the women work.
Well, it was a lot of work back then. I'm learning when I talk to people that you didn't just put laundry in the washing machine and it did it.
No,
there was extra steps and things. And you didn't just buy a frozen meal, a Swanson meal or whatever, and have it. Everything was hand prepared.
Right.
So everything was so much more work.
Yeah, and my mom, she did cook. I mean, we always had a sit-down meal together in the evening. Sometimes it might be a little later because my dad, but usually we tried to eat around 4:30 or 5.
Mm-hmm. Farmers ate earlier.
Yeah. And in the morning, he had to get up early every morning.
Super early, yeah.
Yep. And we lived on a farm, and I remember I hated it. I wished I could have lived in town where I could ride my bike with my friends.
So you said you were born in Elmira, but you came to the Lawrenceville, Lawrence Township area pretty early on?
Yeah.
Far back as your memories go, you lived there.
Yeah. My mom and dad lived down in a different place during the 1946 flood. I think it's 46, the year I was born. Mm-hmm. And then they moved up to where they are no electric when they moved there.
So they had electric and they moved away from electric.
Well, I don't know. I don't think they did. They might have had it because the other place was rented and it got flooded. But I know that when they moved to where we were raised, no electric.
What road was that on? What's that called these days?
That was on Column Road. That was my parents' last name.
Mm-hmm. And is there still a farm there when you go by? It's still recognizable?
Well, there are 4 girls, and we all own a part of the farm, which is not always a good thing. But yeah, and it's still there. There was like a block, and you drove around the block, and there were tons of farms. Everybody was a farmer. Mm-hmm. Now there are no farmers on that block.
Yeah, we've lost a lot of our farms. Yes. We had someone else on who was a dairy farmer where he was talking about how many different milk processing plants, and cheeseries there were in Tioga County. Yeah. And that's just changed.
Right. And, we used to know everybody knew everybody on the road they lived on. Now you don't know your neighbors anymore.
When you were a kid, people would probably pick you up if you needed a ride quite often, too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, people looked out for each other. Nowadays, if a kid came home and said, some stranger picked me up and brought me home, Mom, you'd be...
Yeah, she'd be saying, oh, don't you ever get in a car with a stranger. Yeah, I mean, it's just so different. And, as far as car seats and things like that, even when I had my kids, they weren't particular about a car seat. The car seats were pretty...
I came home from the hospital not in a car seat. My mom showed a picture of me, and I said to my dad, I said, what did I come home and I don't see a car seat?
Yeah.
And he said, you came home in it was a Buick.
Yeah. No car seats back then. And the ones they did have when I was raising my kids were pretty flimsy for a car seat,
Yeah, more of a just control the kids so he doesn't drive you nuts seat.
Right. Yep.
So where'd you go to school?
Well, I was trying to think about this last night, and I was thinking about...
You can make it up. Nobody will know.
How thought I could always remember everything forever, but I'm going to be sure to tell my grandkids, make sure you write stuff down, because it doesn't matter how good your mind is, you're not going to remember it forever. But I went to a 2-room school in Lawrenceville for 1st and 2nd grade, and it was on a back street. It was more like a house.
Yeah.
And what I was trying to think about last night was, did they have cafeteria meals or anything, or did you have to bring your lunch every day? I think you probably had to bring it. Maybe they treated you once in a while. And then in 3rd grade, we went over to, you probably don't know where the ball fields are in Lawrenceville.
Well, on 49,
there was a 2-story building there, and they tore it down, and now they have ball fields there. I went there from 3rd through 6th, and then by that time, Williamson was built, and we all combined Millerton and Tioga.
And that was the end of the little schoolhouses we're wrapping up. You're the last of the generations to be able to talk about experiences in the little schoolhouses.
Yeah.
Was it that traditional old school desks and the hole for a pen in the desk?
And you know, when the kid got in trouble, they had what they call the cloak room, and that's where they would send the kid into the cloak
where
room.
the closets,
yeah,
where the coats go.
The coats, yeah. And I mean, just some funny little things. I remember we would go out to play when we were in first and second grade, and I remember there was a lady that lived next door, and she always hung her underwear out on the line. Well, the boys especially would make fun of that all the time. And I remember once the teacher made the whole class go over there and apologize to the lady for making fun of her laundry on the line. Yeah.
It was common to cover your laundry up with your bed sheets and stuff, your undergarments.
But
back
she didn't.
then I'd read,
Yep.
And owed her an apology.
Yep. And you know, they still had recess. You know, they went out 2 or 3 times a day to get some fresh air, and they had some playground stuff that probably wouldn't be considered safe today. Giant strikes, and you know, those you hung onto them, and the thing went around and around.
The big spinning thing you held on.
Yep. And then when kids let go, they hit somebody else in the head.
Yep. If someone walked up to you, take a shoe to the head there.
Yep. You would never get that in a school today.
Nope. It's all padded and soft, and maybe that's a good thing. Some of the changes aren't necessarily bad,
some of them are.
You look back and go, wow.
Yeah, I know. But we survived.
Yeah. How did you get to school back then? Did you take a
bus every day until I graduated?
For the little 2-room schoolhouse, you'd get on a bus?
Yep.
Even then?
Bus. I mean, that's all I can remember. I didn't want to go to school. I remember my mom said I cried every day for the first few days, but it was always on a bus. Nobody took us. Now kids that don't ride the bus, even most of them.
Yeah. When you were younger, was Lawrenceville the town that you could do groceries in and things like that?
There was a bank, there was a pharmacy, there was a grocery store, a car sales place, a jeweler. In fact, the jeweler's wife was my 3rd grade teacher, Mrs. DeWolf. And they had a house there, and they had a nice jewelry store there. Did I say a hardware? Yeah.
No, I don't think you did.
And a hardware? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything
nice
you
self-contained
everything
town.
you could want. Yeah.
And the train came through town then too.
See, I don't remember anything about the train.
I think it came pretty close to town.
Yeah, it probably did. I don't
Until
remember.
1972, the flood.
Yeah, I don't remember much about a train at all.
What did you do for fun? Did you go to the movies ever? Roller skating?
Well, you know, we never ate out. They didn't have Pizza Huts back then.
No.
We didn't have pizza, in fact. I mean, my mom never made pizza. We didn't really eat pizza. We ate potatoes and meat and gravy and vegetables and, you know, stuff you grow on the farm, milk.
Yeah. You wouldn't have a salad in January, for example.
Right.
My mom would tell me when she was a kid, you couldn't really buy lettuce at the grocery store in January.
Right. And sometimes we shopped at the grocery store. There was a little grocery store in Jackson Summit. That was a little, I don't know, I was going to say a little closer for us than Lawrenceville, but probably not. Probably a toss-up. Yeah. But they still had all the penny candy and the big cheese wheels, you know, with the cheese on them.
Was there a movie theater or anything like that you did, or anything like that for recreational entertainment? Or
I don't think I ever went to a movie. We might have gone to the drive-in once to see Lassie. Or something like that.
Going out to eat, that you said you ate a lot. Mom made the meals at home. Did you go out to eat ever?
Hardly ever. I mean, I can't remember when I was a young kid going out at all. You know, when I got older, when I was in high school, you know, of course, we went on dates and we went to places to eat and stuff. But, you know, I can't remember us as a family.
And now, that's common. When I talk to people, like, I can't even imagine how we had restaurants there because it was just only for special treats or occasions.
Right.
People were much more thrifty with their spending on things that weren't absolutely necessary.
Right. Now, I know my husband's parents, we were probably more in high school, though. I mean, they used to go out every Sunday someplace to eat, you know, the Red Jacket or someplace in Elmira, use Curly's or someplace like that.
Good old Curly's is still there.
Yeah. They always went to church every Sunday, and lots of times they would go out to eat after, you know. We would go, I mean, of course, my dad was kind of tied to the farm, and he never wanted anybody else to do the stuff because nobody could do it like he did, he thought. We would go on picnics. Sometimes on Sundays, my mom would just pack a picnic and we'd go for a ride. We wouldn't do anything. We'd just go for a ride. And I don't remember complaining about it, but if I took my grandkids and just went for a ride now, they'd probably say,
term a Sunday drive?
What are we going to do now? We got to have something to do. We can't just be riding around all this time. Yeah.
We can't be spending $4 a gallon gas right now.
Yeah, we couldn't. And also, we used to go to the lake. My aunt and uncle had a cottage on Lamoka Lake, and we'd go up there once a year, or, you know, maybe twice, but usually once a year, once in the summer.
Yeah.
And when it snowed, we rode downhill in the roads. And they didn't cancel school if you had a lot of snow and the bus couldn't get to you. You just didn't go.
Did the best you could to get
Yep.
there, and that would be...
Yep.
Do you remember driving? Did you remember when did you get your driver's license?
I did not get my driver's license until I graduated. You know, if you go by a school now, everybody has a car. All the kids have a car.
Yep. No bicycles, though, hard. There'd be 3 bicycles and 50 cars.
When I was growing up, there might have been 2 boys in our class, when we were seniors even, that had a car and a driver's license. I mean, some of them had driver's licenses, I think, maybe earlier, but I didn't get mine that early. I got mine after I was out of school.
Mm-hmm. You remember your picture on your first driver's license? There wasn't one.
No, but
They didn't have pictures back then.
I
driver's
don't.
licenses.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
didn't until the 1970s in
Yep,
the States,
yep.
somewhere there. You mentioned, too, the car. A lot of families were one-car families.
Oh, yeah.
Your family, I assume, probably. My family, when I was a kid until about 1977 or so, that was my family spent on an extra car, which was not that common then.
Yeah. Same with us. I think my parents always just had one car. I think us kids did not get cars until we moved out or could buy our own if we went to work, you know.
You mentioned that there was no electric. Was there electric on your farm?
Well, when we first moved there, my dad and my uncle had taken over my grandparents' farm, which was up the road a little bit. So my dad and my uncle did the farming together, and then my mom and dad got the place they got. And I don't think that they lived very long without electric. But I've talked to my mom, and, you know, I know her parents. They didn't have electric for a long time, and I remember she told me that they'd have to get ice in the winter.
The Iceman came around until the...
Right, and they'd have to keep their stuff in this ice shed that they had outside. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. To make it all work.
Even me, I forgot a lot about it when I start thinking about all the stuff that was so different back then.
Even when I was a little kid, my mom told me this. I couldn't believe it, but until I was about 8 years old, a milkman came by our house and dropped off
bottles.
Suburbs
And you
of
had
Boston, where I grew up. And you
had to put the bottles back
put them
out.
back for him.
Yep.
Yeah, you left a note of what you wanted.
Yep. And now they're collectible. Now those bottles are collectibles, I guess. Yeah.
But just in my lifetime, like, what the?
I know.
How did that all change? So did you have an outhouse as a kid?
We did. And I remember we would go out, you know, you had to go out there to use it. I don't think we were too old when we didn't have an outhouse, though. But I remember going out there and the bull got out once.
Yeah.
And he's outside there and, you know, he's snorting and we're in the bathroom. Probably me and one of my sisters, because I had 3 sisters. And we didn't dare come out because this bull was up. So we spent a little time in the outhouse that day.
You didn't have a cell phone or text mom?
No, that's right. I'm sure she probably came out before too long, but I can remember that. Yep. And we used to use Sears catalogs, too, for the toilet paper. We never really...
That was always kind of a joke when I was a kid. That and the corn
that
cobs.
Was for the corn cobs I don't remember, but I do remember that they always saved the catalogs in case they needed them.
Yeah, they were big catalogs back then.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they were nice. They were kind of nice at Christmas. We always went through and picked out our gifts.
I kind of forgot about that, because when I was a kid, too, the Sears catalog would arrive, and Mom would go through and ask you to go through and mark off the things you wanted.
And it was so fun. I mean, and the Christmas book would come, and all it was pretty much toys.
Yep. That was my favorite book. Yep, perfect one there.
Yep, and we had 3. We used to get a Spiegel, a Montgomery Ward, and a Sears. And then eventually it would turn to just Sears, and then it went to Tiny Books, and now it's not there.
Yeah, and Sears is really almost kind of filed bankruptcy, and I don't know what their latest status is. They're kind of hanging in there.
Yeah,
but
I thought they said they closed their last store,
maybe they
but
did.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, when you were born, there wasn't Kmart, there wasn't any of these things that came in went. Ames, Walmart, Dollar Generals, which seemed to just pop up like.
Right. Well, you know, when you used to go to the store when I was a kid, if you went in, you might have a choice of 3 different detergents. Say now, if you go to the store, you might have a choice of 33 detergents. You know, so people didn't have the choices they have today. I mean, sometimes I think that probably was better, you know, and they wonder why people are stressed because you have so many decisions to make, like what kind of detergent am I going to buy today?
Yeah.
Am I going to buy this brand of pretzels or that brand? Or, you know, I mean, it's just...
There's a whole aisle of potato chips now at a grocery store and a whole aisle of soda at a grocery store, which tells you a lot about our diet. And as a kid, were you drinking a lot of soda? That was
Soda was a treat. We didn't hardly ever drink soda. Never. My kids drank soda. My grandkids, some of them drink soda, some of them don't touch it.
Nowadays, kids are it's second nature. They can't imagine that world.
I know. You're right.
Shoes and clothing, too. Was your wardrobe as big as our current day kids that have...
No. We'd probably go shopping in Elmira. Remember, there was Izzard's and Rosenbaum's. And,
it's quite a downtown
there was a lot of nice...
Three or 4 story department store.
Right. And there was like a Newberry's and a Kresge's, the 5 and Dimes. There were a couple hot dog places. We'd go down maybe once a year at Christmas. My mom would take us, and we'd all go down and we'd, shop around a little and maybe buy gifts for each other, for a nickel or a dime or whatever it was. And then go to eat at this little hot dog joint every year, the same place, because they like this hot dog joint. I think it's still there. It's something Hots. I can't remember what the name of it is right now. And if I had something going on at school where I would need a nice dress, my mom would go pick it out. And most of the time, I always liked it.
Yeah, and you wore that dress a lot, took care of it. And Sunday, that was your Sunday best, people?
Right. We didn't have a ton of stuff to choose from. And same way, you didn't get your hair done and your nails done. The high school girls, most of them have their nails done now,
Well, going back to when you were a kid, it wasn't a shower every day.
No.
If it was, you're the only one I've asked that question.
Yeah, it was not a shower every day, no.
Sharing the bathtub water was common.
I don't remember sharing the bathtub water, but we probably did. Back in the day, I probably wouldn't remember that, but I do remember that. Every Sunday night, make sure you get a shower and your hair washed.
Got to start the week off all clean.
Yeah. As time went on, I'm sure we probably showered more. But it's funny because I don't remember when you went into a classroom at school that everybody smelled bad. And it's probably better for our skin.
Yeah, we really don't need to do all that bathing that we're doing all the time. We spend in doing that's a very American type thing. Well, Sandy, it looks like we're running out of time here. I think we'll carry into next week with this program with a part 2. You've got some really interesting stuff. Those of you just tuning in, if you missed any of the program today, you can go to our website, kc101fm.com, and you'll see a tab for our YouTube channel and our Saturday with Seniors programs. You can hear this program and all the other programs that we've previously aired on there. And of course, you can share them with others who may know these folks. So if you know anyone who knows Sandy Gilbert, make sure they know to listen in. And she will join us again next Saturday, 10 a.m. here again. And thank you to our sponsor, Eisenhower's Tioga County Harley-Davidson, South Mansfield. It is prime riding season, and they got a bike for you. They got accessories for you. If you're just looking for something simple like a T-shirt, they got that too. Gifts for everybody this summer. You'll find them at Eisenhower.